Green Bay did it. They really did it. They hosted an NFL draft, and it was one for the ages. In addition, the Packers selected some great new players. Scott and I will discuss all of that and more coming up on your Packers Fan Podcast.
What's up, everybody? I'm Scott Clark from the Gaming Outsider Podcast, and the regular season might be months away, and summer hasn't even started yet, but it's never too early for Packers football. What a wild weekend in Lambeau, and I'm genuinely jealous of the hundreds of thousands of people in attendance for this year's draft. But I'm jazzed to talk about it with a good friend.
And I guess that's me. I'm Wayne Henderson, and I'm delighted to be back behind the mic with Sir Scott talking Packers, don't you know, on this 319th episode of your Packers Fan Podcast, which unofficially kicks off the 15th season of the show. We're going to talk about the 2025 NFL Draft in Green Bay, Wisconsin, aka Titletown. It is in the books.
We'll also be sharing an exclusive Green Bay draft report from our special correspondent, Captain Pack Sparrow, who had his special pirate boots on the ground at the event. Also, a fun prediction as part of our listener feedback section.
So let's go ahead and dig in, Scott. It appears that Green Bay handled the 200,000 plus fans night one just fine, as well as almost equal amounts on the other days, totaling over 600,000 people. It was beautiful to watch, as well as hearing all of the Go Pack Go chants and having former Packers like James Jones, Clay Matthews, Jordy Nelson, and Mason Crosby kick off the event on night one was perfect. Oh, and of course, Clay Matthews reading his special note, quote unquote, from President Trump while addressing the crowd was the stuff of legend because Bears still suck.
That was pretty funny and unexpected, but it was great.
Unexpected is an understatement, Scott.
Yeah, my most of my viewing of this, I didn't watch anything live. It was either clips that I caught on TikTok or some shots, and then the pictures, of course, that Dan shared. It was just insane how many people showed up, dude. It was just, I mean, as much as I wanted to be there, part of me got a little anxiety looking at that. I just couldn't imagine being among that many people, but they're all Packer fans, so it's got to be a good time. But what an insane showing. Holy cow. Just, what else did you expect from Green Bay fans, True. Right? It's just, man, I'm a little jealous of Dan.
I mean, when you take the fact that Green Bay has a population of about 105,000, and then you basically double it, is crazy. I mean, Detroit was talking about how we had 700,000 people. Yeah, your city's like 10 times the size at least.
Yeah, where are we going to put 700,000 people in? Insane. But we've got a lot to discuss because the 2025 NFL Draft, as we've mentioned, took place in Green Bay, Wisconsin, at Lambeau Field, and we've got a lot of players to talk about. And before we get into it, I got to give a special shout out to my good buddy, Matt Sattler. Each and every year, he feeds me with a lot of great information about the picks because, truth be told, I know zilch about college football. I do not follow those teams, players whatsoever. So each year I reach out to him and ask him to provide me some information, and he gives me some good insight. So I was able to do some research based on his research, and I got to give him a big shout out and thank you for that. And speaking of, he also got a hookup from Dan himself. I haven't told you this, Wayne.
No, what's happening?
But Matt is he's a Falcons fan, but he's just a football fan. He loves football so much, college, NFL, anything and everything football. And he texted me and said, hey, how much are cheeseheads? I kind of want to have a cheesehead. I could order it online, but, want to see if I can get one from Lambeau. And I said, you know what? I got a good buddy out in Lambeau watching this thing. I'll bet you he would pick one up for you. So I texted Dan Dialer and said, hey, do you think you could hook up Matt? And he said, absolutely. And he grabbed a cheesehead for him and is going to ship it to him. So he's getting a cheesehead direct from Lambeau. And how big of a football fan is that? That he's not even it's not his team, but he wants a cheesehead.
That is saying something. Matt, yeah. And Matt, thanks again for your inside information on the college draft and the players each year that you send to Scott. Although I don't follow college football, I did watch all of the draft. except for on Saturday. I did skip around a little bit, but I pretty much watched the entire thing. I sat down, had dinner, and watched the entire draft. It was absolutely glorious. And speaking of Matt, in the first round with the 23rd pick, the Green Bay Packers selected wide receiver Matthew Golden from Texas. And Matthew's going to be wearing green and golden jersey number 22. And draft night, the wide receiver from Texas said that he plans to buy his grandmother a house with his draft money, saying that we lost our property a couple of years ago and it'll be blessing to get it back into the family. So that's already touching to hear. And he even shared some early thoughts on Jordan Love, saying, pretty much the obvious. Love is a talented quarterback, can get out of the pocket and makes plays, and damn sure can throw the ball. I'm letting him know as soon as I see him, man, you got a reliable target. You can trust me. And speaking of him being able to really throw the ball, my grandsons can vouch for that, because 5 of the grandsons and one of my granddaughters went to Jordan Love's charity youth football camp in Bakersfield, California, earlier this month. And a couple of them were able to catch passes from Jordan Love, throw the passes back to Jordan Love, do a few little high fives. And Caleb, he cracks me up. He goes, Jordan, I'm going to go long. It's like he's just up there chatting with our star quarterback, telling him, I'm going to go long. But anyway.
That's beautiful.
And so, yes, he can throw the ball. And what's funny is when Mark Murphy made the announcement at the draft from the Green Bay draft stage that we're picking a wide receiver for the first time in 23 years or something like that, the crowd went berserk even before they announced who it was, Matthew Golden. And it really did get me misty-eyed, Scott. It's not just hyperbole. That was a moment.
Yeah, it definitely is. Since 2002. That's how long it's been since we've drafted a wide receiver in the first round. Aaron Rodgers probably had to have been yelling at his TV watching that, right?
Maybe.
So at the position, the Packers took Golden. Only Hunter and McMillan had been taken at that point, and a lot of scouts regard him as having the best hands in the draft, as well as a great top end speed, running at 4.29, which was fastest at the combine. This pick, as well as a later pick, will put some pressure on the already young and underachieving wide receiver room in Green Bay. And overall, I think this is a fantastic prospect for the Packers. He was highly productive in Texas, 58 catches, 987 yards, 9 touchdowns. He also led the FBS with 23 of those catches being 20 yards or more downfield. This is a solid pick, and it made me so happy to get a wide receiver in the first round. I just never expect it at this point. It just feels very much needed, and we finally got one. So this is awesome. Moving up next, we've got round 2, pick number 54, Anthony Belton from North Carolina State. Belton is a 3-year starter for the Wolfpack and had a great showing at the Senior Bowl. He's 6'6", 336 pounds, and is known for being a mauler. This gives him great potential in the run game as a blocker. He's also athletic and one of the quicker tackles, which makes him an asset for run blocking as well as blocking speedy rushers. He's also capable of playing anywhere on the line. This guy could be a starter, but it looked like he might have some development to do, as he did struggle a bit with speed rushers in pass protection. This is, generally speaking, something you'd like to see your left tackle be proficient in. Most of the starting caliber tackles were already drafted at this point, so keep in mind this is a depth pick with starter potential.
I'm looking forward to it, and all I know is from watching the few highlight clips that they showed, he looked amazing, and Jordan Love's blind side needs as much protection as we can get. So whether he's ready to go as a rookie or later in the season, whenever it happens, I am ready for Anthony Belton to protect Love so we can get even more touchdowns and long running plays. It's going to be fantastic.
Absolutely. Moving on to round 3, pick number 87, wide receiver Savion Williams from TCU. Jerry Kramer and David Robinson announced the selection. This guy is 6'4", 222 pounds. This is probably a favorite pick of the draft for Green Bay. Golden's awesome, but this guy can basically be put at any of the skill positions in the field and play. He's a highly productive player from TCU, standing at 6'4", 220. This kid is a Swiss Army knife. He ran a 4.48 at the combine and jumps all over the screen on highlights. For TCU, he caught 60 balls for 611 yards and 6 TDs, as well as averaging 6.3 yards per rush for 322 yards and another 6 touchdowns. Think Deebo Samuel or more close to home Randall Cobb. This is a great piece for an already good offensive-minded coach.
I like this a lot, Scott, because this guy, Savion, he looks like a beast. I mean, being 6'4" and just looks strong and sturdy, and I hope he really is. And, obviously a couple of our other wide receivers are going to have to go because I heard that as of right now, we currently have 9 wide receivers. So if you count these 2 new additions, you can't go into the season with 9 wide receivers.
Somebody's got to go. And
somebody's got to go. And so this guy being big and tall, and then our first round draft pick being super fast, I think it's a great combination. It does give us a lot of flexibility at the wide receiver position. And some of the other guys may step up this year and just show their now veteran skills. So I'm looking forward to it. Can the season start in a couple of weeks, Scott? Could it please?
Well, that'd be nice, man. But let me enjoy my summer, all right?
You always want to enjoy your summer. I just want to enjoy football. But in the meantime, I can be watching Australian rules football. And
there you go.
Because that's like football mixed with rugby, mixed with soccer, with a little bit of basketball. It's insane. And we watched a game. My mother-in-law was over the other night, and she'd never seen one or even heard of it. And she's like, what is happening out there? It's so beautiful. Then moving back to the draft in Green Bay, Wisconsin on round 4, pick number 124, edge rusher. Can I say edge rusher? Baron Sorrell from Texas, a teammate in college with our first round wide receiver pick, Matthew Golden. So even though they played on opposite sides of the ball, it's great that they were teammates. That can't hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was absolutely fantastic to see that Barron was still in the green room on Saturday afternoon, day 3, so that he could appear live after being drafted. He then walked through the crowd at the draft, meeting a lot of Packers fans. And then to top it off, Barron walked over and into Lambeau Field to wave at the overflow fans that were inside the stadium. And taking it to the next level, our newest edge rusher did a freaking Lambeau leap into the crowd on draft day.
Has that ever happened?
No, I don't think so. Especially since the draft has never been in Green Bay and they've never been in Lambeau Field at the moment. It was, what a way to cement yourself with the fans.
Absolutely. Barron is a versatile prospect at 6'3", 256 pounds, and he can play on the edge as a linebacker or a defensive end. This is certainly a scheme fit for Green Bay, as they like players that can move around. Sorrell had 11 tackles for loss and 6 sacks last year with a career total of 15.5 sacks. So this is a strong and productive player with a high ceiling to be gotten in the 4th round. Certainly a depth pick, but could be productive early on in the season.
Looking forward to it, Scott. Then in round 5 with pick number 159 from Oklahoma State, linebacker Colin Oliver, and his highlights, everybody's highlights look great. His looked great as well. And he apparently loves to sack quarterbacks, which is great news because that is one thing I would love to see our defense do more of, besides pick sixes, is sack quarterbacks. What other info do you have on Colin?
Yeah, this is another depth pick at linebacker for the Pack with a disruptive and productive player in college. Oliver had 15.5 tackles for loss last year, and he had a very strong 23 season with 76 tackles, a sack, and a pick for the Cowboys. He is a speedy guy that packs a punch, very instinctive, and likes to shoot gaps. I'm liking what I'm hearing, man.
Oh, yeah.
Moving on to round 6, pick number 198, DT Warren Brinson from Georgia. Brinson didn't play much at UGA, but he did play in 9 games as a rotational guy for Georgia. He put up 26 tackles and 2 sacks last year. He had a strong combine, and this will also be a depth pick for the defensive line. This guy's a bowling ball and rates well against the run. He'll likely be in Green Bay to plug holes and rotate in as well.
Yeah, and I heard him say that he's just happy to change out one G for another G, going from Georgia to Green Bay. Hey, you got to go with any transition you can find, Scott. And these later players, round 6 and 7, they all look great. Their highlights look solid, but we know that it's hard to finally make the team, at least the active roster. So I wish him the best.
Moving on to round 7, pick number 237 in the draft, we've got Micah Robinson, Tulane cornerback. Robinson played 4 years at Furman and transferred for his final year to Tulane. Is that Tulane or Tulane? Tulane?
I think it's Tulane. I'm pretty sure.
Can you tell I don't know much about college football? Regardless, he's a speedy guy that was fairly competent for Tulane, and he allowed a 47% completion rate along with picking 2 balls last year. The Pack desperately need depth at cornerback as they didn't really address that early on, and this guy is very much a pick for that. So good call there.
And isn't it interesting that we waited until round 7 to pick up a cornerback? Because once we got our wide receiver in round 1, I kept thinking next pick's going to be an edge rusher or cornerback. And then they just worked through all the positions and finally got a cornerback. Of course, we don't know what's going to really happen with Jair Alexander. Hopefully he's back and hopefully he can stay healthy. But we will take all the help that we can get. And then we rounded off the day, round 7 again with pick number 250, a compensatory pick, John Williams. No, not the guy from Star Wars. He's a guard from Cincinnati. So maybe he will be flexible as well. What do you know from Matt and what you've seen?
This is a kid who played 1,756 snaps and 27 games at tackle for Cincy in college. But he's a bit inconsistent. He's listed as a guard, so he'll likely be a depth guy that moves around the line for the Packers. He has a lot of encouraging tape that shows he has the tools and potential to be a starter in the league. He's good at getting on the second level for run blocks and walling off defenders, as well as solid in the pass protection.
I'll take it, Scott. I'll take it. So that takes care of our draft picks and then some other recent signings over the past few weeks or so. Just the other day, on April 29th, the Packers signed linebacker Isaiah Simmons. He was the 8th player drafted overall just a few years ago. And after spending a couple of years with the Cardinals and then some time with the Giants, he's now part of the Pack. Isaiah has started 85 consecutive games in the NFL, and I welcome all linebackers to the team.
Absolutely. And also back in March, Green Bay picked up cornerback Nate Hobbs. Nate has been a starter for the Raiders for the past 4 years, except for about a dozen games missed due to injury. But some stats that jump out from him: 281 tackles, 200 of them by himself, as well as 3 interceptions.
Sounds promising, doesn't it, Scott?
It does. I'm real excited for the season, man. This is looking good.
Yeah, because every year the team has a slightly different look and personality. And obviously, that's going to be the case yet again this year. And so we wanted to find out what y'all thought, putting it down into a letter grade, because after all, Scott is a school teacher and we like letter grades. You can find the poll question on Facebook at PackersCommunity.com, as well as on X, or Scott still calls it Twitter, I believe, at Packers Fan Pod. And simply, what grade do you give the Packers for the 2025 draft? Do you give them an A, a B, a C, or a D, or an F? Are you handing out grades yet, Scott?
I am. I'm in middle school now, so we actually do letter grades, unlike back in elementary school where we gave 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. So we are back to letter grades. So I feel like I'm back in the groove here. But I'd give this a strong B this year. I think the Packers did a good job addressing their offensive needs. I think where I'd give them a bit of a strike, so to speak, is addressing corner. Not really sure that we understand the strategy there. Love the Golden pick and the Savion Williams pick, as it remains a priority to stack some talent around Jordan Love. Also, still stacking guys on the line for depth, as well as addressing the box with D-line and linebackers. Baron Sorrell could be a very sneaky pick that develops into a strong player for them. I think the big story with this year's draft is what the Packers are going to address their issues with corner, since Jair appears to want out and they're still shopping him. And they made almost no attempt to assure themselves at a position otherwise. So yeah, overall, strong B. How about you?
Interesting. I, with my green and gold glasses, am going to give the Packers an A. Maybe even leaning towards an A minus. But no, I'm serious. I am going to give them an A. I think what we did pick up is fantastic. And then, maybe getting the Nate Hobbs at cornerback, and then the one that we drafted, and maybe even Jair, everything's going to work out. I give them an A. But the votes that count, and we had a lot of them on X/Twitter, as well as a few on Facebook. So when you average it all out, 35% of the voters gave the Packers an A for the draft. 56% gave them a B. 6% gave them a letter grade of a C. And 3%, which I think must be trolls or somebody that wanted us to draft 7 more tight ends gave the Packers a D or an F. 3%. Can't believe it.
Or Bears fans, probably.
Maybe they do. Just wait to see when the Packers Fan Podcast posts a poll so they can try to throw off the numbers. That could be. We did have a comment on the poll as well from Royal X Storm on X. Says, slightly concerned by lack of cornerback. I expected at least 2, but I'm guessing Jair must be returning. I've gone with the letter grade of B because I think there's a lot of raw potential that could become big players. So echoing what you said, Scott.
Very much so. Moving on to listener voicemails and emails. This is your chance, dear listeners, to sound off and be ready to be part of the next episode of the podcast and share your thoughts on the 2025 game schedule. We don't know it yet, but go ahead and record your voice on your phone or computer and email right now and send that recording to feedback@PackersFanPodcast.com or go old school and call the PFP voicemail at +1 920 3-PACK-GO. The NFL announced that the full game schedule will be released on May 14th. We can't wait to talk with you about the games, the bye week, home opener, primetime, etc. So we want your thoughts as well. Please get your feedback in no later than Sunday, May 18th at 6 p.m. Central.
Yes, please, because if it's coming out on the 14th, that gives you 4 days to put your thoughts together, what you think about the schedule, what you like, what you don't like, and share your thoughts because we're going to record an episode of the podcast early that week, 19th, 20th. We don't know yet. It's 2 weeks away, but we'll see what happens. So now let's hear your thoughts about last weekend's NFL draft experience in Green Bay and the Packers selections. Take it away, special correspondent Dan Dyler, a.k.a. Pack Sparrow.
Go, 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 Pack, go! The pick is in. The 2025 draft in Green Bay, Wisconsin was an absolute, truly one-of-one event. Oh my gosh, I was blessed enough to be up there for the entire time. I got there Wednesday, didn't leave until Sunday. And even though the draft was only the 3 days, I got an opportunity to visit with some friends and family. But how amazing was that watching it on TV if you didn't get the opportunity to go? So many people there, over 600,000, they said. On the very first day, they actually had to shut the gates because they'd reached capacity already, and they were for the draft viewing area, and they started filtering people actually into Lambeau Field, which was just bonkers to me. There were so many amazing events within that draft footprint, activities that were geared to highlight Wisconsin traditions and foods. They seemed to really put a big emphasis on family-friendly events, but they also incorporated, adult beverages to the point where they actually had a dive bar inside the draft campus, which is absolutely insane to me. The scope of the whole campus was just absolutely mind-boggling, let alone just the draft stage. But the day before, I went and did a walkabout to get a lay of the land, and it took me just walking and not like stopping and like looking at everything and talking to people, just walking. It took me about an hour and 15 minutes to walk the perimeter of it. Pack Sparrow had an awesome time, of course. Like I said, I got there Wednesday and they had a pre-draft event at a place called First and Goal, which was a bar, and a bunch of super fans got together to do a canned food drive, and they raised over $400 and I think about 1,000 pounds of food. There was another charity event that I went to. It was called the Superfan Summit Tailgate, where they had 7 different teams tailgates all come together as one transformer type tailgate, all the way from Tampa Bay, the Cleveland Browns, Chicago, Detroit. Of course, Lot 1 was well represented, as well as the Lambulance. And in their charity, they raised over $7,500 for a new community center that's being built there in the Green Bay and Ashwaubenon area. So that was so awesome to be there and be a part of. We had a lot of fun, a lot of great music. Scott, I know you've done a shot ski. I know a lot of other listeners out there have done shot skis. We had an 80-foot long shot ski, one long pole with a person, doing it behind it, behind the ski, 80 foot long. It was insane. And of course, I was also able to get inside of the draft theater, and I'm at a loss for words to even try to describe it, because it was just the scope. I keep on coming back to talking about the scope of the event and just the scope of the size of the draft theater. Here's some stats. If those of you who have live music or who ever been a roadie, I pulled some stats from one of the companies that provided a lot of that for the draft theater. There was 2,827 light fixtures, 1,265 LED tiles, which that comprised those big, large TVs you see behind and to the left and right of the stage. And with all of that said and done, it required over 70 miles of cable. It used 3 miles worth of truss. Just the mind-boggling how they were able to put that together. And, like we've been hearing, I think most people have heard that they far exceeded expectations with 600,000 plus people being there. And they also exceeded expectations, I think, as far as viewers. They averaged 7.5 million viewers per day, with Saturday being the third day and traditionally the least watched. That still saw 4.3 million viewers, which was the most watched third day in history. It was the second most watched draft in history overall. The only bigger one to exceed that was the draft that was conducted during COVID. Obviously, nobody's going anywhere, so everybody's going to be watching. And now with that unique opportunity to actually get into the draft theater, I was actually able to get some selfies. I got one with Roger Goodell, Cynthia Frelund from the NFL Network. I was just walking around and I bumped into Guy Fieri. Then Miss America, got a selfie with her somehow. Charlie Barron's, got a picture with him, the comedian from the Manitowoc Minute. But like I said, just being there in that atmosphere and everybody just going nuts, all those people screaming, "Go Pack, go." There was nothing like it. You can't explain it unless you were there. If you saw it on TV, wish you could have been there. And hopefully they bring the draft back again so other people can come experience that same thing. I'm telling you, it was one of the time of my life, and it's always going to be a core memory of mine now. For now, I can't wait to see the players that we drafted, how they turn out to be, because if they're anything like the crowd yelled for, like when Matthew Golden was announced after the 23 years of not selecting a wide receiver, everybody just lost their ever-loving minds. Same thing happened when on the second day or the third day when the guy from Matthew Golden's teammate was the edge rusher was selected. Everybody just went absolutely bonkers. I gotta cut this. I've been going on for too long. Sorry about that. I just had so much excitement, so much to share. And now I got one thing left to say. Go, 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 Pack, go!
Go Pack, go indeed. Dan, thanks for your calls, man. Always look forward to them each and every episode that we do. Glad to hear your voice is back. I heard that he lost his voice. And I should have asked you, Wayne, you were watching that. I remember last year, he was kind of featured during one of the picks. Like, I remember that video of him dancing
right.
Right before the pick. Did you see him at all on TV, or was this just too big an event?
It might have just been too big of an event, or I blinked because it was hard to stay focused the entire time.
Yeah.
But I do know that local semi-local Los Angeles super fan, Senior Cheesehead, he got in touch with Dan Dyler because I guess, and I don't know a lot about card companies, okay, but there's Topps, but I guess there's a card company called Panini America.
Okay.
I don't know if that rings a bell.
Like trading card you're talking about?
Yeah, trading cards, like baseball cards, football cards.
Yeah.
Anyway, they put together a reel featuring some of the different teams' super fans and posted it on Instagram. And the leadoff star was Captain Pack Sparrow. So that was amazing.
That's amazing. That's pretty cool.
So good.
Props to Dan for getting a selfie with Roger Goodell.
Yes. How does that happen?
Yeah, he sent me that picture, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me! That's kind of crazy." Also, the fundraising efforts and an 80-foot shot ski. I didn't even know that was possible
mathematically, and using trusses or something to hold it together. I guess. How can you have an 80-foot shot ski? And have you, in fact, Sir Scott, ever partaken in a shot ski?
Dude, I'm from Wisconsin. Of course I've done a shot ski. Come on.
I have to ask. Okay.
If there's a drinking game or funny way to drink that originated in Wisconsin, there's more than likely a good chance I've done it.
Okay.
So all the tech and equipment he was talking about, I don't know how he got that information, but that is just kind of nuts. 7.5 million viewers each the first 2 days, and then 7.3 on Saturday.
Wild.
Just awesome.
For the draft.
Genuinely. Yeah. Something about Green Bay, man. I'm just telling you, this how sweet would it be just for this to be the year, dude?
Man. Yes.
Yeah. That'd be amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. But we got to move on. Dan, thank you so much for the call.
Indeed.
I'm so happy for you. And like you mentioned the words core memory, that is going to be burned in your brain. And I'm very happy. I'm sorry I could not make it up to join you, but I would have had to miss yet more days of school to make that happen. And it just wasn't going to happen. So, okay, let's move on to some emails and listener comments. First off, Caleb Fisher and Pack Sparrow himself, also known as Dan Dialer, shared some photos from being at the draft. You can check those out in our Facebook group. Really cool to see when listeners get together and get those photo ops. We also received an email from Caleb, and here's what he said. What a great draft, especially after drafting a wide receiver in round 1. We are really looking forward to this new Packers season. It was a great pleasure to meet up with Captain Pack Sparrow as well as the Green Bay Grinch and a few more Packers fans, and can't wait to see them in the future. Also, wishing my wife Kathy a happy 7-year anniversary. Go Pack Go, bleed green and gold till dead and cold, CCR. Congratulations, man. 7 years. I'm looking at 20 this year, man.
Hey, congratulations to you on that as well.
Well, not there yet. August. Remember in August.
So close. So close. Now, we've got a first here for the Packers Fan Podcast. And although we've had game score predictions, in which I usually win, we've never received a prediction of what the game schedule might turn out to be. Now, of course, we will find out that official game schedule on May 14th, and we'll do an episode of the podcast a few days after to go over that. However, listener Megan sent in her prediction of what the game schedule will be in her mind. Megan guesses that the following could be how the schedule ends up. Week 1, on the road in Chicago to play the Bears. Week 2, staying on the road again. Oh no, Megan. To play the Steelers in Pittsburgh, or could the rumors happen that it would be in Ireland? We'll see. Then a couple of home games, the Lions and the Vikings come to town, then to Denver to face the Broncos, back home to face the Bengals, then a couple more road games, the Giants and the Browns, and then a bye week, week 9. That's a good spot for a bye week, Megan. I like that. Then a home game against the Panthers, and then the reigning champs, the Eagles. That could be a difficult game. Then we go on the road for one of our semi-annual beatdowns of the Cowboys in Dallas. So that'll be fun. And then going to Arizona to play the Cardinals week 13. Week 14, Megan foresees that the Commanders are coming to Lambeau. Then we go on the road to get our revenge against the Vikings again in Minnesota. Don't you know? The Ravens, another hard game, coming to Lambeau Field week 16. Week 17, going to Detroit. And then week 18, wrapping up for revenge and a beatdown of the Bears at Lambeau Field. What do you think, Scott, of this prospective schedule that Megan has predicted for us?
I just love this idea.
I know.
I think it would be kind of fun for everyone to kind of do their own picks, because we know the teams, right? We know what teams we're playing.
True.
We just don't know the order. We don't know when the bye week. This could be like a fun little game where you get a certain amount of points for everyone you get right. You get some bonus points for getting the bye week exactly right. This could be a little competition. It's going to be fun when this announces to see how accurate Megan is and she can foresee into the future. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
There's got to be some wagering involved somewhere at the website that helped her put that together. I do like a week 13 on the road in Arizona, because that's as close as the Packers are going to get to me this year, unless I'm going to need airfare to go to Dallas. But I do really hope there's a way I can make it to Lambeau. I have not been there since Titletown opened, which makes me feel old, and it's been a long time. So we got to make that game happen. I got to get that butter burger at Culver's and all that good stuff, Scott.
Oh, yeah, dude. I got to wear a Henderson jersey, don't I, or something?
Yes, but that should be a pleasure to wear an autographed, William Henderson jersey.
And we got to play Madden. I keep waiting for you to tell me when that's going to happen.
I know this is definitely going to happen. I've done a little bit of practice without any improvement in sight, but yeah, we're going to make it happen. My quarterback has been working out, doesn't want to get injured and miss half the game, so we're going to have to see what happens there. But Megan, thank you so much for sending that in, and hope to hear from you when the official schedule comes out.
And hey, your calls, emails, comments, and support are always the highlight of the Packers Fan Podcast. Looking forward to all the action when the next season of games arrives. Remember, you can be part of the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community and be part of the conversations at packerscommunity.com. Before we move on to the rest of the show, I want to remind you guys about my other podcast. You heard me talk about at the top of the show, The Gaming Outsider. We have officially joined the Radcast network of podcasts, and we're very excited about what's to come. We also just recorded our 547th episode of the show. And on that one, we talk about games that we've ruined for ourselves because we played them simply too much. We've also been playing some fantastic games, including Blueprints, not Blueprints, but Blueprints, like the Son of a King, might be my favorite game of the year. It's going to be really hard to top this one. And also a gorgeous game called Claire Obscure Expedition 33. It's an old school turn-based JRPG with modern sensibilities. It is outstanding and is this developer's first ever game. It sold 1 million copies in its first week.
Nice.
Insane. You can hear my show at the same places you listen to this one, and you can find our website at thegamingoutsider.com.
That is fantastic, Scott. Congratulations not only on 547 episodes, but joining the Radcast network. Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your continued support of the Packers Fan Podcast, even during the off season. You all rock, and you know it. Check out the details on how to become a PFP patron at packersfanpodcast.com/give back. Jay Walters, thank you, and Go Pack Go for your Bart Star level patron support. Dan Dialer's J Love 10 level patronage also warrants a Go Pack Go and a thank you.
Also, Go Pack Goes and thank yous to our fine Favre-tastic $4 supporters, Scott Boers, Miguel Ramirez from the Opposites Attract podcast, and Megan. Also, many thanks and Go Pack Goes as well going out to these Patreon supporters at the Curly level, founder level, Brett Connor in the UK, Joe Christensen, and Hank Davis, who's got a stellar YouTube channel that's taken off. It's at Free Podcast Tools. That's at Free Podcast Tools. Again, if you're interested in joining in the podcast support, check out the details at packersfanpodcast.com/give back. The Unofficial Packers Fan Podcast, not yet affiliated with the NFL or the Green Bay Packers, but please tell even more of your friends. It could even happen. But we just want all the listeners to be able to check out the Packers Fan Podcast. You've been doing a spectacular job spreading the word. Dan Dialer took a bunch of Packers swag and said he handed it all out to people at the draft. So if you're a new listener who joined in because Captain Pack Sparrow told you about the Packers Fan Podcast, and you've made it all the way here to the end, thank you, thank you, thank you, and Go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go indeed. You can also follow us over on Twitter. Our handle is at PackersFanPod. You can follow me at GoCastScott, or my podcast, The Gaming Outsider, you can follow at The GoCast, and Wayne himself, you can follow at Wayne Henderson. So while we wait for the game schedules, here's PFP community members Megan, Dan Dialer, Joe Christensen, and Andre with their Go Pack Go outro.
Go Pack Go!
Go Pack Go!
Go Pack Go!
Go, 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 go!